This video is sponsored by the Ridge Wallet. The Ridge Wallets are compact, made to fit right in your front pocket, and completely changed my old wallet situation. It doesn't awkwardly bulge up, it fits everything I need very conveniently, my cards and a little money clip on the back for my cash. It's about half the size of my original wallet, and if you go to ridge.com and use the promo code in the description that they've supplied for us, you'll get a 10% discount on your Ridge wallet. Comes in a variety of different colors. I've had mine for a little more than a month and I like it a lot. I gave a few to friends of mine and they like it too. There are also 30,000 5-star reviews for this thing. Use that promo code and you'll get a discount. Thanks to them, and I hope you enjoy the video. I'm now all caught up on Bruce Willis's straight-to-VOD tax write-offs. I mean movies.
Chapter House has unlimited resources.
I've reviewed a Bruce Willis movie in the past called Reprisal. The lead star of the film, Frank Grillo, thinks it's a piece of crap.
I blame Bruce Willis. Yeah. And somehow my name was before his on the poster. I'm like, no. First of all, that truly was a money job. I mean, I was like,
so you took it knowing it was
like, it was a bunch of money for a very short period of time, which is why I think Bruce Willis did it.
Welcome to Chapter House.
And you know right off the bat, I don't want to take away from anybody, but you know the money's not going into the movie. Somebody else is getting the money.
Right.
And so the production value is terrible, and you're like, I'm going to have to explain this away.
After Reprisal, he seemed to just go into a bunch of straight-to-VOD action movies directed by guys with similar names. I don't know if it's Brian A. Miller or Stephen C. Miller. In all of them, Bruce Willis is in it for 10 minutes, usually uses a body double. Hard Kill is just the newest example of one of these kinds of movies.
Got your back, soldier.
Hard Kill is a new action movie starring Texas Battle and Jesse Metcalf, who you might know as John Tucker.
Ooh, what? They're breezy, they don't bind, and they give you just enough swing.
Miller has a very convoluted backstory. He was in a war and has PTSD. He used to have a family that he longs for now, but they're not around for some reason. Maybe his family was opposed to the Iraq War. I believe it was originally written to be something like, Miller's family was killed by the antagonist and now he needs revenge. He even has this bracelet on, and at the end of the movie he just takes it off and throws it away. That's supposed to be some kind of conclusion?
You got kids, Miller?
Not really sure what the connection is. Did he lose his family and then go to war? Did his family die? Was his PTSD so bad his wife left him?
You'd do anything for him, right?
Is he wiping his nose in the middle of the take? Bruce Willis has this large scarf. The whole time he has the scarf on, just so it's easier to hide his body double's face.
It's gonna be, pretty hard to launch your little toy there.
He's the head of this mercenary group called Chapter House. On this super cool Chapter House team, we have Derek Miller, Chalmers, Sasha, Fox.
If you want Chalmers, you come and get him, bitch.
And Dash, who ends up betraying them.
Dash! What the hell are you doing?
Ava Chalmers, played by Lala Kent, is the daughter of Bruce Willis. She's some kind of scientist who developed a super high-tech AI that can basically do anything. And at the start, she's being held captive by the antagonist of this movie, the Pardoner.
I'm sure you recognize your old friend, the Pardoner.
The Pardoner's name is actually inspired by The Pardoner's Tale. It's a story about how 3 guys go in the woods and find a bunch of gold or something, and then they poison each other.
Greedily killed the third so they could split the treasure between themselves.
And then what? Do you kill them?
Fortunately, after they kill their friend,
release them into the trees.
Then death can be found under the oak tree in the grove.
His motivation is so vague, it doesn't actually make much sense.
Greed is the root of all pain, of all suffering, of all evil. Pharmaceutical companies enhance their drugs to become more addictive. Politicians are lining their pockets while homeless people flood the streets. I am not the bad guy.
The dialogue is on the level of a Neil Breen movie.
Burn it all to the ground.
It's so obvious. Okay, he just wants to wipe out everything. And then what?
Aren't you tired of being a pawn?
I don't buy this actor as this evil villain.
Going to torture her. And I'm going to make you watch
The entire thing.
I'll see you soon, Miller.
Waving his hand, I'll see you soon, Miller. Count the number of scenes that are there just to pad time. The opening of the film is a shootout that just occurs later in the movie. They plopped it at the beginning and put it in slow motion. They do keep talking about the partner as if they had met him before, but in the movie we don't really see him until 20 minutes in. Even though this opening is using the same exact footage from the scene later in the film, look at those windows. These are actually supposed to be two separate shootouts. This is supposed to be their first shootout with the partner that kind of occurs before the movie starts.
Last time we got our asses kicked by the partner, we lost our VIP, and if you remember correctly, you almost came home in a body bag.
Chapter house meeting today. He prays to God Almighty, and then he grabs his gun, puts it in his holster, and grabs his coat, puts it on. So can this scene be cut out of the movie? No, this is really necessary.
The story begins, and I'm following this character's journey, whoever they are, and seeing where it leads me.
You get to see what their daily routine is like. A giant-ass limo pulls up, and John Tucker walks in, and Bruce Willis is inside. It's just the worst shot. He's like far away. It's like a wide angle. They just cut to it. There's no big reveal.
Dayton Chalmers.
Pleasure.
Welcome to Chapter House. B Company.
Mogadishu.
Mogadishu. Somalia. Bosnia.
Bosnia.
Family life changes everything.
Look, they're never in the same shot together, even though Texas Battle is in the limo.
Bad for everyone.
They're looking at Bruce Willis, but they're not in the same shot as Bruce Willis.
And now that man is a high-value target.
That man is me.
Let him go, Sash. We got business to discuss.
Got business. Oh, that was supposed to be funny. Anyway, they go to an abandoned warehouse because they want to make a deal. They kidnap Bruce Willis's daughter.
I didn't mean for any of this to happen. I just wanted to test it in the field.
So they're gonna trade her for some kind of MacGuffin. That's supposed to be Bruce Willis. Why can't him and Texas Battle be together? What happened? You guys gotta make up. Gotta put the past behind you, look ahead. Think to future films.
That son of a bitch is using my daughter to get to me.
This is really lame, isn't it? He's so strong, he's able to lift this guy off the ground while he's choking him.
Time to shake off the boss, buddy.
Dude, that was so badass.
It was the only way to get you.
Me? Or Project 725?
Bruce Willis is just watching through a window. Did no one see him? The guy with the sniper didn't see him? Oh, Bruce Willis is gonna help out. He just walks. This is his stunt double going down the hallway. They're gonna get Bruce Willis for this part. It's in Bruce Willis's contract that he can't move faster than a light sprint. Ava Chalmers is wandering around in another dilapidated room. The same two soldiers just appear. Then Bruce Willis comes out of nowhere and shoots her.
Project 725 is an artificial intelligence system.
It's a quantum AI. Wait, you cracked a two-state quantum system?
How about we cut the geek speak?
It's binary on steroids.
In this scene, Willis and Texas Battle are actually in the same shot. They're on opposite sides of the room, really far away from each other, and they're not even making eye contact. He doesn't seem alert or scared at all that his daughter is in danger. He's casually talking to all these characters that he doesn't even know.
It was my daughter's project.
He's just upset that his daughter got kidnapped by the partner.
The partner is smart.
The action scenes are really terrible. Texas Battle got hit.
Let the bastard die.
Stunt double.
We'll be okay.
No.
She just seems like confused. What about him though? Is he worried about his daughter? Is he happy his daughter is going to safety? Is he concerned for his own life? Is he angry at the partner? Is he worried for the safety of his team? What am I supposed to get from this? He just seems drowsy. He seems tired. He's so tired. Stop having him act. Let him take a nap. And then he gives this shrug. Okay, I guess that was a good take.
Drop it, Chalmers.
The names are so bad. They have to keep slowing down the footage to elongate the actual usable moments of Bruce Willis's acting. It's not like they slow down the entire shot, they just slow down a few frames of it, but it's very noticeable.
Project 725 is dead.
He's a little teary-eyed. Is he worried or scared? They only have one take to work with. Then the partner punches his body double in the nuts. Yeah, you can't show his face in this shot, right? You can't get Bruce Willis to go on his knees or hit him in the face. Yeah, that's a stunt double. Halt, headshot. What was even the point of that? If this one guy isn't gonna be a challenge at all, then cut it out. Oh, he brought his Rubik's Cube with him. Not sure why they're wearing bicycle helmets. One thing I'll give this movie, they actually filmed it in the cold. Is it because it's a Cold War? It's about technology?
Literally, the week that we wrapped, this whole pandemic just started up. So I was able to do all the post-production remotely, and you know, things came together really well.
And that's what it feels like. His nose is all red. Like, how can I be intimidated by a villain that looks like he has a cold? Bruce Willis gets to be on a nice heated set, looking down on the rest of the movie. This actor has to deliver 2.5 pages of a monologue in the freezing cold. This actor, who looks familiar, plays the partner's, like, right-hand guy.
Chalmers and his friends are more resourceful than you thought.
Then halfway through, he just disappears and is replaced by this character.
Sir, generator's back online.
Who serves basically the same function, but what happened to the other guy? Did he die real quick? Emma is a hacker and the lone female member of a villainous faction led by a terrorist known as the Partner, who held Ava Chalmers hostage in an attempt to use her Project 725 to wipe out the world's assets. She was first shown during the film's climax. She seems kind of reluctant about activating Project 725 and destroying the world for no reason.
A lot of innocent people are going to die.
2 years we've spent working on this.
Alright, 2 years isn't that long of a time. For total world domination, they should have made it a little more dramatic, like, we've been working on this project for our whole lives. 2 years. Emma's fate remained unknown. Yeah, she never shows up again. Great character. Great jacket. So this AI they're after, Project 725, it's very vague what it actually does. She created it to help with everything.
I wanted to use it to revolutionize the way that we live, to help our government run more efficiently, our economy, every aspect of society. All they kept thinking about was the money they could make to flip it to the military.
Damn, the military.
They wanted to turn it into a weapon.
They wanted to turn it into a weapon.
I wanted to save the world with Project 725. He wants to use it to burn it to the ground.
The movie has 2 story by credits and 2 screenplay credits, including Joe Russo.
Jesus. It'll send us back to the Stone Ages.
And the Partner can do all this?
He'd want to stop the Partner.
This is so cliche.
You truly do not know when to quit.
So his plan was just to disguise himself as one of them and then kill them?
All clear.
Why do they have night vision goggles on? It's way too bright for that. It's broad daylight outside. Look at that bright window. Yeah, have fun being blind. What are they even doing? This is so dumb. Got him.
Do we have a deal?
Yeah, we got a deal. Kill him.
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit.
This is all my fault.
How is it all your fault?
But I'm gonna fix it. This time I'm putting a bullet in the Partner.
Put a second one in there for me too.
And for Harrison.
And me. And me. partner hits her in the face with a deagle, and Bruce Willis's reaction is very nonchalant. Don't. No.
Don't. I'm sorry.
No. Don't.
I'll do it. I'll give you the goddamn code.
Bruce Willis and Lala Kent somehow get out of their restraints. He just gets out of them. They don't really explain how. And he couldn't do that earlier? While Miller is fighting the partner, Bruce Willis just comes out of nowhere and shoots the partner in the back. What a great last shot. Fade to black.
Well, we better be on Chapter House.
We actually shot in an old playing card factory in Cincinnati. Incredible location. I mean, it just had so much variety in the sets. I mean, it was insane. I mean, we really got a lot of production value for what we had.
Look, it's the same three guys. A lot of the muzzle flashes and lighting effects are added in post as well. What's wrong with a squib? They didn't even track this one to the actor. The camera pans over and it's still in the same place. Yeah, there's sparks flying off that brick. They couldn't even put tiny explosives into the wall, I guess because they couldn't damage the property. It seems like they're shooting red paintballs onto the brick wall, and that's supposed to make it seem like bullets are firing against it. But it doesn't, it just looks like a paintball gun. That's stock VFX snow. They put the multiply opacity thing on it.
I'm gonna give you one last chance, Chalmers.
My dad is one of the strongest, most hard-willed men that I've ever met.
Doesn't matter how you got here. If you want to survive, we're gonna have to work together.
The thing about an action film that goes straight to VOD, you know they're going to cut a lot of corners. There are going to be a lot of muzzle flashes and bullet hits that are added in post-production. There's going to be a very limited set. The classic action movies like Terminator 2 and a more recent example, John Wick, are technical wonders as well as being engaging stories regardless of the action. The directors of these films clearly put thought into choreographing, lighting, and shooting the scene, with every cut painstakingly refined for maximum impact. The market these new Bruce Willis movies are after are people who leave movies on in the background while they're doing something else. He continually drags every film down around him. He's embarrassing the movie. I can't even call this acting. I don't think he's acting. He's just there. So how can I, as an audience member, be invested in this story?
It's my fault.
He's such a disservice to the movie, and it's so obvious what's going down. They have a random script in a drawer, they throw in Bruce Willis, they attach a director, and that's enough to sell it, and then hopefully you'll make your little money back. And if you don't, you can just write it off on your taxes. Who even cares? It's gotten a lot of attention because of how bad it is, and because of Bruce Willis, obviously, but it's no different than a movie like Reprisal, or any other movie he's been in recently. This movie might have gotten more attention because of Glass recently, which kind of put Bruce Willis back in the spotlight for a bit. So this one got more negative attention, because it's a jip. That was pretty brutal, wasn't it? A lot of the cast and crew that worked on Hard Kill also worked on two other films. Survive the Night, which actually came out the same year as Hard Kill, 2020, and another movie called Trauma Center. This movie is also directed by Matt Eskandari. There isn't a single memorable action sequence or even a moment where I thought, these movies are cool, these movies are worth watching. They trick you into buying it because you think it's an action movie with Bruce Willis in it, then he's in it for 10% of the film. This is just a home invasion movie. There's a doctor and he has a family, and Bruce Willis is their grandfather. He lives with them. There are these two brothers who rob a convenience store. One of the brothers gets shot. The other brother breaks into the doctor's house, kills the grandma, Bruce Willis's wife in the movie. At some point, Bruce Willis escapes.
Rachel.
My favorite part of the movie was Bruce Willis yelling after his wife gets killed. There's a car chase, it's shot entirely in a forest, and you can't see the actual drivers. It's supposed to be Bruce Willis. You can't really see through the windshield, though. The execution of the actual movie was very silly. There were a lot of moments that were clearly not supposed to be funny that I was laughing my ass off. You saw an old Bruce Willis on the cover. You knew this wasn't going to be a landmark of cinema. It's another script in a drawer movie. Another script in a drawer, thrown Grandpa, played by Bruce Willis, and the grandpa will get a revenge for Grandma. Grandpa takes Grandma, puts her in her bed, and pulls the sheets down. Like... This is another movie directed by Matt Eskandari. He's just happy that he could get Bruce Willis to be in his movie.
No, of course not. He's a dealer and a CI. Paranoia is his second nature.
All of these movies have a long list of producers, about 30 people on each. What got me into watching this movie was actually one of my patrons, who sent me a private message that they had worked on the film. Maybe take it with a grain of salt. Bruce was only contractually obligated to work for 2 days. Any scene in which Bruce Willis's face doesn't need to be shown, there's a stunt double used instead. He mentions the stunt double they got for Texas Battle looks absolutely nothing like him. Bruce arrived to set 30 minutes late and didn't bother to learn any of his lines. He apparently had an earpiece in and was having lines read to him by someone off to the side of the set.
I'm ignoring you, Tony.
Not today, Steve.
It's the guy from Hard
What are you, my stalker? I just finished a double. Can't this wait? He said he was going radio silent.
Yeah, well, he's not radio silent. He just sent me a text to a meeting place. And why
was he leaning in there?
He wanted to lie low.
It's just a paycheck movie. He said it was a weird and fun experience, so I'm glad he enjoyed it. I certainly didn't enjoy the movie. That's like stock footage. There's Lala Kent.
Get out of here! Get out of here! It's a setup!
It's a .40 caliber bullet. Doc confirmed it. You're a very lucky girl. That's your phone?
Yeah.
He says everything the same.
I'll put my phone in, okay? I'd like you to call me Steve.
What is that, stock footage again?
No crime scene? Yep. I saw the body myself.
Not saying there wasn't a crime, there's just no scene. Look, Kenai says that...
What? What does that mean?
Right here.
Okay.
Right here!
He's yelling.
Where are you now? I just don't know who. Wait, how do you know? Madison, listen to me. Where are you?
Oh my God.
What? The morgue? Just stay there. Just stay there, Madison. I'm on my way. Stay there. Listen, don't worry. What? No. The girl, Madison.
Security had to close off most of the floors.
Close off what?
You okay? You're gonna be all right.
You're gonna be all right.
You're gonna be all right. He's my partner.
Bruce Willis is Lieutenant Steve Wakes, which is a funny name considering he's sleepwalking through this movie.
Half the floor is disease labs. The other half is the isolation ward. It's where they quarantine those patients. We haven't had any outbreaks of Ebola yet.
It's his informant that got killed by Pearson Tull. His informant's name is apparently Jimmy Gonzo.
Jimmy Gonzo was my snitch. Giving me 7 busts. We hit a wall, deals got canceled. Jimmy said there was a protection racket going around. Did you hear about any of that?
Jimmy Gonzo is a silly enough name already, but Willis's delivery makes it even funnier.
Jimmy fucking Gonzo? It doesn't make sense. I talked to him today.
Bruce Willis is led to an alleyway, then these 2 random guys show up with machine guns and start shooting at him. Then he comes out with a pistol and headshots them both.
I guess that makes you. You're the partner. Leech. The whole goddamn department must be in on it.
He's talking to himself.
$100 say there's a gallon in the trunk, along with Jimmy's body.
There's a point she's locked in a room and they're trying to talk her into letting them in.
Officer, Davidson. What happened to his body?
Officer Davidson. Yes, we found his body in the in an empty patient room.
Of course, that doesn't work.
Poor kid, his name was Officer Jacobs.
It's so obvious.
That's what I said.
Officer Jacobson.
Why would you give that away? Just don't tell them. As they start trying to break the handle, she finds a defibrillator somewhere in the room and attaches the pads to like the door handle that somehow electrocutes him really bad. And that delays them for about 2 seconds. They just pan up and all of a sudden there's a vent. So while they're trying to find her, they drop the memory card that they have with all the video footage on it, and Nikki Whalen just stumbles across it and she puts it in her sock. Then she's captured by the corrupt cops, and they just don't do anything. They don't take the bullet out of her leg, they don't take the SD card out of her sock. They have everything they need, and they just delay it for as long as they can, so Bruce Willis can show up and save the day. She's trying to escape, and she has a knife, which she uses to cut her restraints off. Why didn't you just stab him? In Trauma Center, Bruce Willis and Texas Battle don't share a single shot together. For this fight scene, neither of them were on set at the same time. You can see the body doubles very clearly. After seeing A Hard Kill, I saw First Kill from 2017, starring Hayden Christensen.
I'm already down $8 million on oil today, okay? Because some blogger says China's going big on solar.
Billy Beeman, that's you?
Why is every shot so close?
Just Will now, sir.
William, right? Your name's William, but everybody calls you Billy. I'm okay. You're okay.
You're okay. You're okay.
Okay. We had a little trouble at the bank, and I'm advising everybody to exercise caution until it's resolved.
Exercise caution.
All right, will do.
Oh, shit.
And, drive careful.
Thank you, sir.
That was Bruce Willis. Drone shot. This movie looks like it has a bit more production value to it, and Hayden Christensen...
I didn't attempt anything, all right? I'm just trying to get my son back alive.
It's a bit higher caliber, I think, than like some of the other people they've gotten for these movies. Bruce Willis is a bit better than normal, I don't know.
Now get the fuck out of here before I put one in your fucking head.
The stunt double is still there though. There's a part at the end where he gets shot in the head. That's his stunt double, very clearly. The back of his stunt double's head and his head look so different. It's hard to find new things to say about this movie, but I'll try. You know, the production value's about the same. It's all shot in the woods or in Hayden Christensen's house. So why is it called First Kill? It's got a few meanings. This whole hunting thing going on with his son. He's teaching him how to hunt.
One shot, no pain, no suffering.
How do you know there's no suffering? When was the last time you got shot with a rifle?
This deer is going to be the kid's first kill, and they're setting up his accuracy for the end part where Bruce Willis is holding his mom at gunpoint.
Oh my God, isn't this precious? It's a lousy $2 million for all I've done for the people of Brandville. Now throw that fucking bag over here.
You can count to 3.
Who the fuck do you think you are?
This movie's making me choke.
I gave my life to this town. And what thanks do I get? You're a killer now, right? I remember how that felt the first time. Right after I pushed your dad off that cliff. Danny doesn't need to shoot anything to prove how tough he is. He's already more of a man than most.
Yeah, it's okay. Another movie I saw was 10 Minutes Gone.
What?
Which also stars Michael Chiklis. Michael Chiklis goes, 10 minutes, gone.
Those 10 minutes, gone.
It came out in 2019 and is directed by Brian A. Miller, the same director as Reprisal. Movie Pass Films, the mark of quality.
You sure about this girl? She took me in when no one else was.
It was dollying left, and then when the shot was like all the way to the end, they dollied right again. This is really cheap garbage, isn't this?
I was reluctant to allow a jinx like Joe.
This bank looks like an abandoned building that's like under construction.
The gun! Drop the gun!
Oh, it looks terrible. This place looks abandoned. It's so old.
I covered my post. It was all clear till things went postal. What happened there in the vault, huh?
What the hell? And he just runs out. What the hell?
No, wait.
He shot him in the kneecaps.
He's left the underground. No way Frank's gonna catch him anytime.
I'm not comfortable with any of this.
There's always a degree of risk when the stakes are high.
This is making me insane.
Go to the bar downstairs and have a few drinks.
The basic premise of the movie is there's a bank robbery gone wrong, a lot like the opening of Reprisal. Remember with the notes?
What the hell is going on? What's happening out here? I have family that we need your help getting us this good. I need help inside.
I said get back!
Michael Chiklis is part of the robbery, but he gets knocked out. When he wakes up, his partner's dead next to him, and he can't recall the last 10 minutes. Those 10 minutes are gone.
Those 10 minutes. Gone.
This heist was of course planned out by Bruce Willis, who's off in some skyrise.
You guy's a jinx. You should've let me buy him out.
Why is he yelling? He just started yelling, like...
Solid payday instead of this fucking mess right here.
His performance in this scene is very funny.
Where is the rest of the crew? That crap ain't gonna cut it. Ain't gonna cut it. Ain't gonna cut it. Where's the package?
Where's the package?
Where's the package? How did you get out? It won't take long to ID Joe. Where are you?
Had a little itch on his nose.
What?
That's Bruce when he read the script to this movie.
What? Get to the holdup on Crenshaw. You were supposed to do that anyway. Get your head on straight. Call me the second you hear any...
He's looking right at the camera.
Joe's dead.
Sorry, Frank.
10 Minutes Gone has a lot of actors we've seen already. The actor who plays Dash is back.
We got history, I swear. Why did you try to kill me?
And even the partner makes a brief appearance.
And what kind of Mickey Mouse job did you and your brother cook up?
There you go. That's it. Now, I'm gonna ask again and you're gonna answer. Because as we both know, if we don't stop cutting this with oxygen, you're gonna hallucinate like a son of a bitch before you die.
He sticks out like a thumb. Just the writing of the dialogue and the story itself is really not good.
You've already made the deal for the hardware. I've never had a job go down like this. It wasn't the crew or me. It was the caper that went sideways. Who else was after this thing?
Besides us, every law enforcement agency in the country.
Your job was to tell the fucking truth. Gave me a reason to doubt before.
What the...
Joe comes to town. Now half the crew's dead and Frank's MIA. Check his burner. Check the last message he sent. If I don't get the goods, I have no problem walking away with loose ends. You've already paid me $500,000 for the crew. If those jewels are worth $30 million on the black market, then I am the best fence in town. What do I need you for?
At the end, Bruce Willis gives Michael Chiklis a bag of money.
We'll call this a down payment on the next one.
That's the end of the film. That's all they could afford. Filming a climax would have been very difficult. There were a few other notable films, like The Prince, where they digitally de-age Bruce Willis for the opening scene.
Child! What did they have to do with it? What?
We're prepared to offer you a very lucrative contract.
Basically give all these movies a star or half a star. It is pretty obvious no one cares about these productions, that they put the bare minimum amount of money into the actual film itself. It doesn't really matter how good the film is. If an A-list star isn't attached to it, that makes investing in the movie much more of a risk. Even if he sucks, The only reason I've even watched any of these movies is because of his name. There are tons of other action movies that I haven't bothered watching or that didn't even get made because there wasn't some big name attached to it. Over time, Bruce Willis has gained the reputation of being hard to work with. One of his most infamous production disasters was on Cop Out, in which Willis took charge of the production and bossed the director around. Kevin Smith's experience working on this film soured him to directing in the Hollywood studio system. The real-life Bruce Willis was so indistinguishable from his film persona that audiences started disliking his performances and his movies. In the 2010s, he started falling into straight-to-DVD action movies such as The Cold Light of the Day, co-starring Henry Cavill.
Dad.
Bruce is killed 25 minutes into the movie. Of those 25 minutes, he's maybe in the movie for 10 minutes, of which he spends on a yacht. Before concluding this segment and reviewing some of his good movies, this is a Chinese film, certified by the Chinese government, of course. This is the same logo that was in front of China's salesman. The movie is called The Bombing, aka Airstrike. Let's watch the trailer that was released on September 11th.
We have reached a very critical time in this war with the Japanese.
Oh my god.
We want you to take this training very seriously. I don't expect any of you new trainees to get up there and
this looks like a video game.
You see.
It's Adrian Brody. Wow, look at that editing. Holy shit. Will Bruce Willis be accused of intellectual property theft in this movie? Let's find out. The movie starts with an airstrike, or a bombing, of course. So they develop characters for about 3 minutes, and then there's another bombing. Meanwhile, Bruce Willis plays Colonel Jack Johnson. He's an US military advisor.
Can't just send these kids up there to get shot down. I need you two, both of you. We need more planes, and we need to get those kids out there trained. Nobody flies today.
We're barely making it then! How do we take them out? Shoot the fuel tanks!
The music doesn't even match with what's going on at all.
Yeah!
It looks so bad.
My brother, I'm not gonna make it back for dinner.
Oh no.
It hurt!
He threw that out of his plane?
Is it just that I'm treating you too harshly? Or are you just feeling shitty? I'm feeling shitty! Good! That's what I want! Now get the fuck out of here now!
Man, Bruce, that was a really good scene.
Fucking it!
Oh my god, look at Bruce Willis throwing shit. The movie does not look like it cost $65 million. It's based on a real historical event, and it should be presented with a bit more authenticity and consideration for the real lives lost. There's nothing about this kind of situation that should be funny. It's presented really over the top. There are moments that are really tragic, I guess, but they're offset by these comedic moments and these over-the-top action sequences. There's a lot of dogfighting scenes. They're not really well done, they look fake, which is why I wasn't invested in them, but it's because they're trying to make up for really uninteresting characters and a really cliche story.
Some water? Some water? If you're not willing to fight for what you love, then you never deserved it in the first place.
Take care, Steve.
Take care, Adrian. This actor was apparently paid $4.2 million. However, she did not report all of that money to the Chinese government. When they caught on, they gave her a $129 million fine. This all occurred a week before the premiere, which was cancelled. In addition, one of the producers on Airstrike was charged with fraud, and he had to back out along with his money.
You weren't concerned about us exploiting your first date with this beautiful woman?
Ooh, this beautiful woman.
I'll always find a right reason to fight. You and Armin and Sharon have that experience. But only one person can pilot the P-40.
Only one person can pilot the P-40.
I know what this gift represents. and what it means. And this is also my war. It's been an honor serving with you.
That doesn't sound like Bruce Willis. I think they got a different actor to dub in this part.
Let's set some rules and celebrate being a soldier.
Listen to Bruce Willis here.
Most importantly, we're still standing here. We have not died. We need the world to remember this is Chongqing's sky. Light up those burning fires in yourself and use all the bullets to puncture the armor.
Let's welcome a bloody fight to the end.
Let's welcome a bloody fight to the end.
It's sad to see how far he's fallen, being in movies like Airstrike.
Unbelievable landing. Are you all right?
So I want to talk about Bruce Willis's good films. Woo! He has been in so many good films in the past that are actually worth discussing, unlike Steven Seagal, who's maybe been in one. Films like Die Hard and Unbreakable were game changers for their genres. Sixth Sense, this is a movie directed by M. Night Shyamalan. Toni Collette was actually really great in this movie. I knew the twist going in, I watched it in a different way, knowing that, and I enjoyed it just fine. It's definitely made to be watched multiple times, which is why it's a good twist. It enhances the movie, makes it better. M. Night's movies here actually feel sentimental in a way that works, very emotional. These are considered like his two best films. Seeing them for the first time, I had never seen them before. It's about good versus evil, but in a more complex way. The final confrontation between Sam Jackson and Bruce Willis, you know, it's just a verbal exchange. Very striking cinematography. The film looks great. It has a lot of style. The use of overexposed lights or spotlights did add a lot to the comic book vibe of the whole movie. Music adds a lot to some scenes, and other scenes it kind of takes away. I thought the scene where he's fighting the burglar in the house didn't really need any kind of music. Sam Jackson really steals the show, because he's the villain. You know, the villain's always the more flashy one. The way he dresses, his car, that's all padded. Sam Jackson is so great at playing these out there characters. He's got a lot of range as an actor. Bruce Willis is really good in the film. He's not as out there. He's supposed to be a more relatable guy. You don't get him to be the Nick Fury role, which is kind of what he is in Hard Kill. That's what he doesn't work as. I rate Unbreakable 4 stars. M. Night superhero universe. That's what he's trying to do. I think Split's okay. I love Die Hard. I think it's awesome. It feels like an 80s action movie in all of the best ways. Talk about Bruce Willis being charismatic.
Oops.
John McClane as a character seems very vulnerable as well. He seems like an actual guy going through this kind of situation. They try to put all of the odds against John McClane. You know, he's from New York and he's out of his element in Los Angeles. He seems like he can get hurt. That's what I like about action films like this and the Raid films, the Raid 1 and the Raid 2. You have a protagonist who seems like he's really injured. Willis sells this role. He's really good, and his reactions, his facial reactions to the crazy things happening seem more genuine than like a movie we've seen before. The villains were interesting. Alan Rickman's portrayal of Hans Gruber is so iconic. But there's also these other forces outside the building that are making things more inconvenient or escalating the situation. But every character is definitely given something to do in the story. They all serve their purpose, and they all help with the pacing. You get different perspectives on what's going on in this building. They utilize the location really well. There's of course the terrorist John McClane strangles with a chain, who comes back at the end with no warning, and the way they presented that, completely unexpected. I really didn't see it coming upon the first viewing. Reginald VelJohnson. His character is a bit over the top, especially at the conclusion of the movie when he shoots the terrorist. That's a very 80s moment when it pans down and it dun 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 dun. Kind of corny, but it works in the movie. Now that kind of writing has become, I guess, cliche or obvious if it was in a movie today. But keep in mind, at that time, there were no movies like Die Hard. He was still doing the show Moonlighting while Die Hard was being filmed. There's so much reliance on supporting characters in the movie. All the terrorists being huge parts of the movie. They all have a little character to them, like there's the hacker one. Bruce Willis didn't have to be there the entire shoot because there was such a reliance on these other characters. And that's a good excuse, you know, he's not It's not like Reprisal or Hard Kill.
It's one of the most hotly debated controversies in Hollywood, and you knowing Bruce Willis for so long, set the record straight, okay? Is Die Hard a Christmas movie or not?
Look, Die Hard is absolutely a Christmas movie.
Die Hard is probably one of the most impactful and longest lasting action films ever made. None of the greatest elements carry over into the sequels. Not that Die Hard 2 and Die Hard with a Vengeance don't have something to offer. I would give the original Die Hard 4.5 stars. The 1980s and the 1990s were a really good time for that genre. Really great directors working at that time, like James Cameron. There's also RoboCop, Speed, Hard Boiled. Holly Gennaro McClane is played by Bonnie Bedelia. She's much better than she is in the second movie. Didn't even need to be in the film, really. Die Hard 2, Die Harder is pretty mediocre. In a lot of ways, I like it. In other ways, it's a carbon copy of Die Hard. The comedic elements of that movie did not work nearly as well and feel kind of dated. Scenes of like Holly McClane in the airplane and it's kind of played for laughs, followed up with a scene of a plane crashing into a runway and it's like a fiery explosion. You could take any action movie, just kind of plop John McClane into it, and then that's Die Hard 3. I like the dynamic between Sam Jackson and Bruce Willis. I thought the two of them were great. They're working on another Die Hard movie now called McClane, which I guarantee you is gonna be really bad. Given all these other Bruce Willis movies we've seen, it's going to be like that. They're capitalizing off the Die Hard name again. I love watching the opening credits and seeing all the names of the actors that are going to appear in the movie, like Christopher Walken. You know, when Bruce Willis's segment starts and it's Christopher Walken giving a monologue, you're like, alright, this is gonna be great. There's this scene in Airstrike where they're talking about his dad's watch.
My father was a soldier as well. This is his watch. He said that if anything ever happened to him, he should give it to his son, and he did. This is his watch.
And that's, of course, just like the scene in Pulp Fiction where Christopher Walken is telling him about his dad's watch that was up his ass. It's one of the best scenes in the film, and a great start to Butch Coolidge's story.
He's dead?
The radio said he was dead.
Sorry about that, Floyd.
People say he's supposed to be the good guy of the movie. He's supposed to be the most relatable one. We learn about Butch's childhood, which is a way of getting an audience to sympathize with a character. Butch wasn't trying to kill the other boxer. He's not a hired killer. All of the characters in Pulp Fiction are basically criminals or bad guys. Butch kind of escapes from the corrupt clutches of Marcellus Wallace and his organization, who represent the sinister underbelly of Los Angeles. This life of crime can eventually catch up with you. It eventually gets to Vincent and he dies. Jules makes constant references to the Bible, and I guess he sees a righteous path forward that doesn't involve a life of crime. Tarantino tells everything out of order. So Bruce Willis's story, the story of a man who comes to terms with this and runs away from it all, that's a continuation of the kind of journey Jules goes through, how his journey ends at the end of Pulp Fiction. There's something about the character and something about the way Bruce Willis plays this character, Butch, that makes him interesting, that you want to watch this chapter. Butch is based on a character in the film Kiss Me Deadly from 1955. There are references to Body and Soul, Deliverance, and famous film actor Takakura Ken with the samurai sword sequence. Pulp Fiction was a high point in the careers of everyone involved. This movie came out before it was public knowledge that Tarantino is a jerk.
I'll be whipping your ass up and down this street. Yeah, go.
This is one of Samuel L. Jackson's best roles. Uma Thurman was of course great, Ving Rhames, and pretty much every other performance is great with the exception of Quentin Tarantino himself. I rate Pulp Fiction 5 watches. In addition to that McClane movie coming out, he's going to be in a movie called Midnight in the Switchgrass. He's going to be in a science fiction movie called Cosmic Sin, where he's in some kind of mech suit. It just looks like the Live Free or Die Hard poster. He's also going to be in a movie coming out December this year called Breach. The original title was Anti-Life. Oh, it's a Chinese movie.
It's out there. We kill it.
Wow. Light him up! It seems like a cheap knockoff of Alien. Was he vaping right there? There's other Bruce Willis movies worth talking about. Hard Kill is a terrible movie, and so is the rest of these, be in a real movie again. I guess that's what we should take away from this.
It's called Reprisal.
Okay.
And in it, I'm married to Olivia Culpa.
Okay.
Okay.
I think she's a 25-year-old Miss Universe.
Yeah, she's
the
stunning.
most beautiful woman I've ever seen. Yeah.
And she's my wife. And we have like a 16-year-old daughter. And the movie's so bad and makes no sense. It's just like, I'm like, oh, wow. I took a money job.
Oh, is that what? Okay.
And my garden looks great because I
Right.
paid for
Right.
the new garden, but it's so embarrassing.
But is it?